Let's meet Alfredo Holguin, a totally blind programmer with a mission. And did I also say he's a type 2 diabetic? This is the Happy Diabetic Kitchen, the podcast about people who love to eat and cook healthy. This is your guide to the world of healthy cooking and conversations about happy diabetic living and lifestyles, where we simply turn ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. Welcome to the kitchen, and let's get cooking. Hello everyone, I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic, and welcome to the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. I'm here in the kitchen getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking, explore some amazing foods, and my diabetic journey with all my successes and all my challenges. So, let me help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. So, welcome to the kitchen. And if you're new to the show, I'm happy that you're here. With me always in the kitchen is my son Jason, engineer, producer of the podcast. And today, we've got a very special guest, Alfredo Holguin, a totally blind programmer with a mission. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. Okay, everybody, we are here in the Happy Diabetic Kitchen interview booth, just as promised, with Alfredo Holguin, a totally blind programmer with a mission. So, Alfredo, are you ready to get happy?
Yes.
Awesome. So excited to have you on the podcast today. So listen, I've learned a lot about you. You're a dad, you're a programmer. I think you love karaoke, but why don't you just tell all the happy diabetics listening today, just a little bit about who you are and kind of fill in the blanks.
My name is Alfredo Holguin, and thank you for having me here, by the way.
Very welcome.
I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 5, and it was really hard to be diabetic at the age of 5 because like young children always like to eat candy, right?
Right.
But it was harder for my parents and my grandparents because although they did understood that I did not have to eat a lot, it was hard for them because, like, for example, my grandma always wanted to give me a lot of food because I always looked skinny, and she would overload my plate with food. And I never had the motivation to control my diabetes because overeating was something that I got accustomed to. And I never had the confidence to say no to my parents or to say no to that extra cake. Like, for example, when I would go to parties, my family members would offer me cake and I couldn't say no. And for them, it was kind of like the usual to offer cake to everybody. So, for example, when I went to parties, my family members would offer me a piece of cake, for example, and it was hard for me to say no, but it was harder for them not to offer me cake, but because it was usual for them to offer it to anybody. Sure. So it would be insulting in their mind to not offer me cake. So I think it was harder for them.
How old were you when you were diagnosed with diabetes? And I'm guessing, is it type 1 diabetes?
No, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes when I was around 3 or 4 years old.
Okay. And you live in San Diego, correct?
Yes, I lived in San Diego since I was 5. My mom migrated me from Mexico when I was 5. So I've been living here since I was 5, and I love it.
Awesome.
Cool.
And you're a dad?
Yes, I have 2 children. My eldest is 11 years old. He's Alfredito. And my youngest, he's 2 years old. He was actually born on the weekend that the pandemic started.
Oh, wow.
So he's 2 years old.
Congratulations. And you're a computer programmer.
Yes, I'm a computer programmer. I have been a computer programmer since 2012 when I graduated with my bachelor's in information systems from SDSU.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So everybody has something that makes diabetes a challenge, right? We all have it. All of us that have either type 1 or type 2. I would love to just chat a little bit about how being blind has impacted your diabetic journey.
So actually, becoming blind was like a gift from God. A lot of people might say, "Well, you're kind of crazy for saying that," but I was not really focused on controlling my diabetes back then. But when I became blind, everything changed for me. It was either I control my diabetes or I might die. So becoming blind was a gift because it gave me another opportunity in life. It gave me another opportunity to look back and control my diabetes to become successful. I remember when I was starting to become blind, I used to always wake up early and go to a bus stop and take the bus to work or to school. And in that bus stop, there were two mountains that were in front of the bus stop. And the sunrise, you could see the sunrise when it rose. It was beautiful. You could see all the green bushes when the sunrise in it. And I remember seeing that. I could not see it anymore because I was partially blind, and I started crying. It was really devastating that I could not provide for my current girlfriend anymore because I was becoming blind. And I cried. But I set myself a goal that I was going to one day be able to provide to her. And one of the things that I need to do to achieve that goal was to control my diabetes. So I started eating better. I started exercising more. I started taking my pills. I started listening to the doctors. And from that goal, I started developing other goals like getting my bachelor's, getting a house for my family, getting my master's, getting a work as a programmer. Nothing is easy. However, the key to success is having motivation. And I had that goal. I had the motivation to be successful in life despite my diabetes, despite being totally blind. And I succeeded because I had the motivation. Anybody could do what I did. It's just you need to have that motivation.
Yeah, I mean, you're a rock star. I mean, you've had a lot thrown at you. I tell people all the time, for me, I think diabetes was a blessing for me in a way because I've never lived healthier because I'm focused on this disease, right? My good friend, Dr. Edelman, who runs TCOYD, Taking Control of Your Diabetes, always says, if you want to get healthy, get yourself a good disease. And it'll help you focus on what you need to just live a better, healthier life. So tell me about your blindness. Like, when did that occur? And what do we know what caused it?
Yes. First, I want to thank you for saying what you just said, because it's awesome that diabetes has also improved you. Because I think diabetes improved me when I became totally blind, just like it improved you because now you're healthier. But to answer your question, I became blind in May of 2018. I was 25. And one of the interesting aspects of being 25 is that it's scientifically proven that our brain has more capacity to learn between 1 and 25 years. So after 25 years, it's going to be harder to learn. So I was lucky in a sense that I became blind by age 25, because if I would have been blind afterwards, it would have been harder for me to adapt to my blindness. And I became blind because of several issues. I have glaucoma and then also diabetes retinotomy. Okay. I cannot pronounce it correctly.
I think retinopathy. Yep, yes. You got it.
So basically, I have 2 of my retinas detached. And I always say that, tell everybody that maybe one day somebody will find a cure for one of my diseases, and I'll be able to see.
Yeah.
Because I was able to see before, so if my eyes work again, it shouldn't be difficult for me to adapt to it. But even if it does not happen, I'm one of the happiest persons that people might meet. You always seem happy, like I seem happy all the time. And I always thought it was because I exercise a lot. And when you exercise a lot, you get that dopamine rush of happiness. Oh, yeah. But it must be something like we're happy that we live with diabetes, but we're happy that we're alive. That's what I think.
You're exactly right. I mean, I'm blessed. I feel blessed. I feel blessed. I have a family and lots of grandkids, but you know, it's all for me. It's a very mental kind of a thing, right? I mean, if I'm not feeling it, I look in the mirror and I say, Robert, it's your fault. It's you. You've got to control your destiny, and that's what I try to do.
Yes.
So I think you and I are a lot alike that way.
Yes, I know. Pretty nice.
Alfredo, in your mind, what's the biggest challenge diabetics face? I mean, no doubt being blind adds a whole nother layer, but what do you think is the biggest challenge diabetics face today?
I think the biggest challenge that diabetics face today is having the confidence to say no, having the motivation to succeed in controlling their sugar and being able to say no to that extra cake or that extra piece of cake. For example, when a family member offers you cake or they offer you too much food, having the confidence to say, no, I cannot have that much, or no, I cannot have that cake. It's really hard for diabetics to say no, first because overeating, it creates pressure, right? But also because you don't want to insult that other person and you rather take the hit of a higher sugar level than insult the person by not taking their food or by not taking that piece of cake. But you have to have the confidence, and eventually they will understand and they will appreciate that you have the confidence to say no, because if you do that, then that's like teaching them also, because in the future, they'll be able to say no to other things.
Right. I know for me, I call them, this is not my name. Another one of my good friends who lives in San Diego, Bill Polanski, is a psychologist, and he likes to call people who are always trying to police us as the diabetic police. You know, people that say, oh, you can't eat that. You shouldn't eat that. Don't do that. Do you have those kinds of people in your life? Or even strangers that you might even meet?
Yes, I do have those type of people. Not in my family, because they understand now that I can have anything. It just have to be a portion. Like, for example, when I have cake, my wife gets the cake, and I just get like a little bit of her cake. I do see it more often in strangers that they do not understand that we can eat anything. It just have to be in portions, and it's better to eat vegetables. I love eating vegetables. I have accustomed myself to eating vegetables, and I love them.
Yeah, everything in moderation. That's what I like to say, with maybe the exception of cotton candy. Do you have a favorite quote? Do you have a favorite success quote? Something that, you know, you like to think about to help you get through the day?
My favorite success quote is one that I think I invented. I'm not sure, but motivation is the key to success. If you have motivation, you can do anything. You could be a blind programmer. You could get your master's as a blind person. You could get a house, anything. You just have to have the motivation. Everything starts with motivation. If you don't have the motivation, you will not do anything.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious to me, just listening to you for the last couple of minutes, you are a highly motivated young man.
Yes. I motivate myself by setting goals. And one of the interesting aspects about goals is that you set the goal, but the thing that motivates people to achieve that goal It's being afraid of other people saying, ha ha, you didn't do it. That's what motivated me to be able to that's what motivated me to get my bachelor's, because a lot of people said, oh, you're blind, you're never going to get your bachelor's. And I did it. And then with my master's, the same thing. And then with programming, the people at work, they did not give me programming duties. They gave me like copy and paste program that, and I programmed that mechanism, and I proved that I could program. And they gave me first a part-time job, and now it's a full-time job. But the motivation comes from like showing other people, yes, I can do it, or being afraid that other people are going to laugh and say, oh, you can do it, I was right.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to fight through it, right? And not take no for an answer.
Yes. A long time ago, I had this person, I was teaching them computers, learning the computers as a blind person. And she asked me, how do you do it? How do you think about this? And I said, because she was getting the same thing as I used to get, where people would say, oh, you can't do it because you're blind, or oh, you can't do it because you're this or that. And I told her, you need to think like you're a bull and you're just going straight and just running, and everybody's just gonna like fall off from the side because you're a big bull and nothing can stop you.
I love that. I mean, I really love that. I think more people living with diabetes have so many obstacles put in front of them. And I think you got to be a bull about your disease, and you're bull about life in general, because you're in control, right? And look at you. I mean, I've watched a bunch of your videos, and one of the things that really impressed me was a lot of your videos start with, I'm a blind programmer. If I can do it, you can do it, right? I mean, I'm sort of paraphrasing a little bit, but that just really, it just resonated with me, because we take so much for granted, and here you are. I'm assuming you're typing on a Braille keyboard, correct?
No, I do not type on Braille keyboard. I type on a regular keyboard, like all sighted individuals.
Okay.
I did not learn Braille. The way that I use my computer is speech output.
So yeah.
And I have memorized the keyboard. It was pretty funny how I learned to use the keyboard, because I used to listen to the radio, and I have this keyboard learning stereo system for blind individuals.
Okay.
And I used to listen to the radio, and as the person was talking, I was trying to type what they were talking. That's pretty funny. It worked because I learned how to type without seeing the keyboard.
Wow. So, I just love that. I mean, I love that you have taken what many people would say is a disability, but turned it into possibilities, turned it into a life that is full and rich. No one loves you more than me, man. I'm just so impressed.
Thank you. It's pretty interesting that just what you just said, that I am always going to have that motivation to succeed, because everybody thinks a blind person can't do anything.
Right.
Another interesting quote that I have that I always tell everybody, I tell them, I'm blind, not dumb. Because a lot of people treat me kind of dumb. Like, oh, he's blind, he must be dumb.
Yeah,
right. Say, hey,
right.
I'm blind, not dumb.
People are weird, aren't they? Let's just be honest. We have to educate them, right?
Yes. People, I have to disagree a little bit there. I don't think people are weird. It's just that people, what they do not know, they try to interpret it in their own way,
Oh, that's
like a Bible quote, it can be interpreted many different ways, and people, they interpret it the easiest way possible.
Yeah. No, that's a much better way to put it than I did. But, listen, I also want to talk a little bit about food, because I know you like food, and I know that you've got help in the kitchen, and you sent me some ideas that your mom made. So tell the happy diabetics listening, what are some of your favorite foods?
One of my favorite foods is, I love almost every morning I wake up, I get some spinach, some chopped green apples, and I put some balsamic vinaigrette. And in addition to that, I put some leftover food from my wife. For example, sometimes she makes like egg with bacon, so I'll put some there so it has that flavor, or some chile relleno, or something to add a flavor to it because I love vegetables, but I also love the meat. And another food that I've been eating lately is one that my mom has been making. It's basically some cheddar in olive oil, and she heats it up, and it basically creates like a tortilla. So you use that as a tortilla instead of using a flour tortilla or a maize tortilla, and then add some carnitas and some avocado and salsa, and it's
Wow.
basically the same flavor as a taco, but it is better because it does not have the carbs from the tortilla.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I think you told me that sometimes you'll do carnitas and avocado with salsa, and a low carb, and because it is low carb, and you don't necessarily use a tortilla, right? Because that's higher in carbs.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do not. Yes, I try not to use tortillas. I do eat tortillas. However, I try not to eat them.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So, Alfredo, tell me about your diabetic aha moment. Like, and maybe some of the events that led up to that, but tell me a little bit about your aha moment.
My diabetic aha moment was the one that I described previously, where I cannot see the mountains. And it was because it was the turning point for me where I either had to control my sugar or worse things were going to happen to me. And I decided to control my sugar.
I think I had a similar aha moment when I was not a very good diabetic, right? I wasn't doing my medicine the way I should, and I was not checking my blood sugars. I was a very non-compliant diabetic, and really, had the aha moment thanks to my wife Cindy, who helped me say, listen, you want to be around for your kids, right? And your grandkids. And why are you messing around with this disease? And it really kind of set me back a little bit that I was being pretty selfish. So that kind of really helped me.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting.
What do you want to leave the listeners with today? I mean, what do you want them to know about Alfredo, about your blindness, about your diabetes? I mean, what do you want us to walk away with today and maybe help them to understand, better?
What I want listeners to understand is the same concept that I have been saying before is motivation is the key to success. You need to have motivation. And motivation always comes from inside. Nobody will give you motivation. So you have to set your goals and somehow be motivated. Have that fear that people are going to laugh at you, or have that fear that people are saying, oh, you're not going to be able to do it. So it can motivate you to control your diabetes and be successful in life. And then you're going to be like me and Robert Lewis. You're going to be happy all the time. You're going to be sound happy all the time. It's pretty interesting that Lewis sounds happy all the time. And I sound happy all the time. Except sometimes I do get mad, right? But
of course, we all
most of the time I'm happy.
We all do. Well, listen, Alfredo, it's been a joy to have you on the program. You're an amazing young man, and I look forward to getting together with you the next time I'm in San Diego. And yeah, it's just, awesome to hear your story. Will you come back again sometime?
Yes, anytime. And I really appreciate you having me in your YouTube channel and podcast. And I hope to see you in San Diego soon also.
Yeah, me too. That would be awesome. Well, Alfredo, thank you for being on the podcast. It's just amazing having you here today. And I look forward to meeting you again. And Alfredo, no one loves you more than me. All right, when we come back, it's going to be time for our rapid fire 411. All right, stay tuned. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I've got Alfredo on the podcast today. He was our amazing interview that you've just heard. And now Alfredo has agreed to play the rapid fire round, what I like to call the 411. So, Alfredo, I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions, and you simply choose your preference. For example, I might ask butter or olive oil, riding a bike or hiking, or your favorite food. Are you ready to play?
Yes.
All right, here we go. And you don't have to overthink this, but just have fun. Olive oil or coconut oil?
Olive oil.
Mango or papaya?
Mango.
Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Oh, nice. Grilled steak or grilled fish?
Grilled steak.
Wow. How do you like it cooked?
Medium rare.
Yeah, me too. Chunky or smooth peanut butter?
Smooth peanut butter.
I'm a chunky guy. Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day?
Valentine's Day.
Of course, Alfredo, you're a lover like me. Favorite vegetable?
Spinach.
Spinach. Bacon or ice cream?
Bacon.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Superhero or supervillain?
Superhero.
Roller coasters or merry-go-rounds?
Merry-go-round.
Me too. All right. Finally, Alfredo, if you could break bread, have dinner with anyone, past, present, who would that be?
Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Wow. And why would that be?
Because he was the one that took us out of the Depression.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Well, Alfredo, listen, it's been awesome having you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. And if anybody has any questions for Alfredo, you know how to get a hold of me. Go to my website, happydiabetic.com, and go to the contact link, and I'd be happy to forward any questions you have to Alfredo and pass along any information to him that you might have. So again, Alfredo, thank you for being on the podcast. Did you have fun?
Yes, I really did have a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yes, I really did have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, no one loves you more than me, Alfredo, and I look forward to having you back on the show very soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Oh, you're so welcome. All right. Take care, Alfredo. Hello, everyone. I want to tell you about a special project I'm working on that will premiere on June 10th, this week. So join me, Chef Robert, the happy diabetic chef of the world, for your dose of daily motivation. Let me share with you how I'm getting ready for my day. From foods I'm planning to eat, to the music I'm listening to the beverage I'm drinking, and how I plan to exercise, and everything in between. And I want to hear from you also. So let's start the day together and learn how to live a better, happy diabetic life. I'll answer your questions about healthy eating and what's working for me. So let's share recipes and healthy hacks to live your best, happy diabetic life. How do you tune in to see you at the coffee pot? Simply head over to my YouTube page, Chef Robert Lewis, the happy diabetic chef of the world, and the stream will be live at 8 a.m. Central Time on June the 10th. So I look forward to having you join me in the kitchen. And the plan is to meet up every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock on my YouTube page. So head over to my YouTube page, Chef Robert Lewis, the happy diabetic chef of the world. Subscribe and hit like, and we will meet up and have a great morning together. So, no one loves you more than me. Have a great rest of your day. So be sure to follow me on all my social links. You'll simply find them all at happydiabetic.com. Just look for all my links at the top right-hand side of the page. And hey, if you have a question for me, go to my website, hit the contact tab, you ask questions, I'll answer them, and who knows, they might even become part of the next show. Maybe I'll select your question and send you some cookbooks as a big thank you. Thank you for listening, and if you are loving what you hear in the kitchen, please leave a comment or feedback at Stitcher, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening. Your thoughts and comments are very much appreciated. Thank you again. Thanks for tuning in, and let me leave you with this thought. John Walters once said, "The only thing I like better than talking about food is eating." Well, so long for now, and remember, no one loves you more than me.